In DC, for DC. DC Radio, 96.3 HD4 and DCRadio.gov.
Welcome to another edition of Inside the MFL. I'm your host, Richard Myles Sr., along with Kelsey and Nicole Nelson from Fox Sports Radio, along with Robert Gatewood from Radio 1. How are we doing this morning?
If I were doing any better, I couldn't stand it. Just glad to be here on another edition of the MFL Radio.
Let's go with Miss, I don't know why. Maybe I'm just jealous of you, all them awards you and Robert getting, Kelsey. So maybe that's why I'm stumbling this morning. So how are you doing
Second
today?
show in a row we have you stumbling. I've been hoping third time's the charm. Because I'd like to think I have an easy name to remember.
Maybe I'm
doing great this morning.
Maybe I'm getting back at y'all for receiving all those awards, and I ain't got none. Nobody gave me an award yet.
I have a nice pen here with your name on it.
Oh, there we go. Okay, so Miss Nelson. Okay, the movies. I know you're fresh back from the Super Bowl. We're not going to talk about that as much because the MFL get ready to start. We have our financial guru here, Mr. Gatewood. What updates we had, Miss Nelson?
Yeah, so lots going on. And before I think we talk about the league, I want to make sure to pay my respects to the late great Kobe Bean Bryant and losing him was
you got
hard.
No tongue-tied that time, huh?
I did. It's because I'm still emotional and honestly still in shock from the loss of the great number 8 and number 24. So I wanted to make sure we pay our respects for that. I think, we're all still hurting. He'll be laid to rest soon, along with his beautiful daughter, Gigi, that we also lost. And rest in peace as well to the other families. But before we went on, I just wanted to make sure that we all paid the proper respects to the Mamba, the Black Mamba, and all that he was and all that he did for the community on and off the basketball court.
Can I chime in on that as well?
Absolutely.
The reason this was so pertinent to me, Kobe Bean Bryant actually passed away on my birthday.
Oh, wow.
Now, generally on my birthday, I'm celebrating life, and it was shattered really by the passing of one of our great icons. Now, we had a few things in common, Kobe and I. We were both fathers. We called girl dads. Of course, he passed away on my birthday, but he also had a purpose, and that's something I preach every week on my radio show, The Marketing Pulpit, that you need to live your life with purpose. He had a video out there floating around talking about how if you work hard and you have a purpose, then success is basically assured. So I just want to say, yes, let's pause and continue to celebrate this month as we celebrate Black History Month. Let's add Kobe Bean Bryant to one of our great historical icons and let his memory and his dedication to purpose live on and on and on into infinitum.
Absolutely. And it's a shame. I'm not going to even talk about that Gayle King mess. I'm not going to give that no credence whatsoever. I just think that we need to stop pulling each other down. That's all I'm going to say in that matter. And I'm quite sure you have something to say on that, Miss Nelson.
Yeah, I think, we just lost one of the great ones. But may his legacy live on. One of my favorite quotes is, "What we do in life echoes in eternity." And Kobe Bryant is truly one of those people, died so young, but such an impact he had, not just in the NBA world, not just in America, but worldwide. And very few people are able to have that effect of worldwide athletes. I think the last athlete that had maybe this type of respect was Muhammad Ali. And even when you talk about musicians, I don't think Whitney Houston's funeral or just her loss, did as much as we see Kobe doing. I think Kobe you can kind of compare to the loss of Michael Jackson and what he meant to the music world and so much more. So I'm a big person that says athletes are always more than just athletes. LeBron James, has spoken out on that, and LeBron James even paying his respect to the late great one. But Kobe Bryant and all that he did, being a girl dad, I'm the daughter of a girl dad, and what he embodied, a true African American father at its best. He supported women's athletics. He supported so many young talented players. He was there for his family. And so he was just an incredible, sad loss. But as Robert said, this Black History Month, I hope we lift him up high and, keep him in all of our spirits and still continue to push and be the best that we can be so we can all be Mambas in our own world.
Absolutely. And getting back to Inside the MFL, I'm excited about the new additional GMs that we have. As you know, we're excited. We're getting ready for the combines. Miss Nelson, I mean, we have a lot of players calling, and they want to experience the MFL. That's very exciting. I'm not going to talk about the other league that started. I wish them well, and I'm not one to say that, but I'm just excited about giving these young men an opportunity to play in the developmental league. Also, in saying that, I know I'm going to let you chime in because I definitely want to get to our marketing guru because we still want people to understand the significance of ownership. And we had a lot of people that getting in contact with us, Robert, I have to tell you, about the franchises. So I'm excited about that as well.
Well, it should be no surprise because in business, there's so many opportunities out here to getting business. But one thing about franchises is that you're buying into a proven model. You're buying into an entity that has support, backing, experience, expertise. And so I would encourage anyone, if you're looking for an opportunity to bring economic empowerment into a community. And when I say community now, we have to include our community across the waters in the motherland of Africa, because now that's where the MFL is really building a great footprint. And so think about, how do you plan to leave this planet? We're in the spirit of Black History Month. Are you just going to be on the sidelines continuing to watch, or you jump into the game? Well, the MFL is an opportunity for you to get involved in the game in any type of capacity, whether you're a player, whether you're an owner, whether you're a GM, a manager, a trainer. There's opportunity, and I would suggest contact this brother, contact Mr. Myles, contact Kelsey, contact the people at the MFL, and get involved. There's economic opportunity here. You can be a contributor, and you can be a benefactor as well.
And that's something that I can't say enough about having Robert, Mr. Gatewood, a part of this MFL, because he brings that expertise in terms of owning. We still don't get it yet. We still don't get it. Right. We have to own. And I'm not saying this, I'm speaking from a entrepreneur standpoint, but someone that understands about business and the fact that we need to own stuff, Kelsey. I just don't understand why people just don't seem to get that.
Yeah, I mean, we live in a capitalistic country, and ownership is a sign of wealth. I mean, many times when you look at people who are wealthy and have made it, it's because they've owned something. And if you think about it, that's why everybody yearns to own something. From the time you're born, you want something with your name on it. When you're 16, you hopefully want that car. When you're in your 20s, usually many people are making that decision to buy their first house and own something. And when, creditors look at your different things, looking at what you're actually owning, and you talk about having the opportunity to own a franchise, that's continuous wealth. That's wealth that can be spread and passed down through generations and generations and generations. And it's an exciting time. It's a time for fans to come, experience, and be a part of the MFL. And the fact that this opportunity is especially going to communities that for a long time have been underserved and underprivileged, I think that's huge, because I think you're bringing something that's enlightening to people who for a long time have been disenfranchised, who have been looked over, who have been overworked. And now finally they're getting the opportunity to be a part of something that's growing and branded and by something and someone who looks like them. And I'm a big person of representation matters, so I applaud you for all the work you're doing, Mr. Myles.
Yes. Well, Myles, now, Kelsey said ownership, and I know some people are frightened by that term. They think of the economic requirements. But one thing, it brings up another topic that I'm very keen on, is that partnership and collaboration. You don't have to be a zillionaire to own.
Thank you.
You have to be resourceful and creative. There are people, there are organizations that are willing to partner with you. If you bring something to the table of value, then you can be recompensated for that by ownership. You don't have to have this $1 zillion bank account. So scratch that myth. You have to have desire and purpose and be resourceful, and you can find a way. There are so many millionaires right now in this country that started out with nothing. I'm talking about zero. We're talking about sharecroppers, went from sharecroppers to millionaires. You can do the same thing by just talking to the right people and making yourself available and having that drive that Kobe talked about, having that purpose and hard work, and you too can become an owner.
And it's ironic that it's nice that you said that, and that's the purpose of having Robert, Mr. Gatewood here, because we just don't. It seems like the old saying is, anything we don't understand, we have a tendency to be afraid of.
That's right.
And why we're afraid of empowering ourselves for a change. We're talking about generational wealth, and you think about all the different things that's out here. People go to the casinos and gamble every day, giving the money away. But ask them about money for something that's going to benefit them. They'll tell you, I ain't got no money. I ain't got no money. And that's why it's so important that having Robert, Mr. Gatewood on the show, he can break it down to you. He can break it in the term and lane term that people probably say, oh, he's just saying that because he got something. Believe me, peanut butter sandwich is still sensational to me. And people seem to think that, people born, how many people of color was born with money?
Well, Miles, people hear that term sharecropper, and many people have no idea what a sharecropper is. But really, a sharecropper was just slavery by another name. My dad was a sharecropper. I've actually picked cotton. I mean, people look at me and think I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth. These hands actually picked cotton. We were born on a farm, on a land that was owned by a white guy across the street. And this was not a race thing, but I'm just telling you how the sharecropper system worked. These were former slaves that continued to live on the land that they farmers that they used to work for as slaves. So my point is that it does not matter where you start. Now, I'm kind of getting into a different issue, but it goes back to a mentality and a mindset. How determined are you to get out of the condition that you're in and become something greater? We talk about the MFL as an opportunity, but also whether it's the MFL or some other entity, don't wallow in where you are. Think about where you want to be and start making those little steps. You start with an incremental step, and then you add to that. You start making the right connections. I met Mr. Myles. We weren't born chums and buddies.
Absolutely.
We went out and we started aligning ourselves with people who have similar goals and similar purposes, and great things can happen when you do that.
Ms. Nelson, I know you want to chime in on that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think we all kind of come from similar backgrounds, and we've all been able to find some forms of wealth. But even us, we're still building and climbing. But I think the best thing about this is that not only when we made it, we're also giving back to the community and asking them to be a part of that. And oftentimes that does not always happen. Sometimes when it's the mama I made it thing, it's you made it and you're not trying to bring others up with you or along the way. You want to relate that back to history. I think that's why people like Harriet Tubman and the Underground Railroad was so important, because once she found freedom, she didn't only stay there and be free. She risked her life every single time she went back to bring other slaves to share in that freedom with her, to share in that wealth with her, to share in that happiness with her. And that's what you've done with the Minor Football League. You've been able to find ownership and a way to bring others along the way, not only to find success on the football field, but going from beyond the field to the front office. So I applaud you for that. And I really hope people, again, become a part of this, because opportunities like this do not always come around.
And speaking to you, I mean, although your family is from the South, and they did have an opportunity to go to college, I mean, they made a way. They were smart enough to move more further north to give you a better life, although you was born up in the DMV area. I mean, that impact, not saying you wouldn't excel nowhere, no matter where you was at the time, but do you think that made a difference in your life as well?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've shared the story many times. And you said, my dad went to HBCU, Garland State University, but my mom went to Hines Junior Community College, which is a community college in Hines County in Mississippi. So my parents, worked their ways up. They were able to get government jobs. There wasn't as many jobs in Mississippi, and they did want to move up here, not only so they could have better jobs, but so I could be in a better school system, so I could have a fruitful and well life. And, luckily I had the privilege of growing up in Montgomery County, and I know everyone thinks it's, roses and cherries, but, there were many difficult times. My parents had to really fight to make sure that, I had some of the same things that my classmates had. Now, I didn't have everything. I went to school with some kids whose parents were doctors and lawyers and things like that. But my parents, they worked hard. I always say I was the first one at daycare and last one to leave because they were always working to try to make sure I had a good life. I was, used to being the only black girl in the class. I was used to not having the tutoring help or other help that other students got. But I just worked hard and tried to make sure, my parents' sacrifice didn't go in vain. And that's what I try to preach now. Sometimes it's not the apples that you're handed, but once you get that apple, some people will just pick up an apple and eat it. Others will try to reuse the seeds and plant an apple tree. Others will try to split it up and divide it and give it to others. So, I've been the one that kind of has tried to give back and spread back. And Robert, also having family from the South, knows how different it is. Like Robert, I've seen cotton. I know what it is. I've had sharecroppers in my family. I'm the great-granddaughter of a sharecropper. And so that just shows you it doesn't matter your beginnings. It matters what you do with your future and, again, how you spread and give back to others.
Okay, we're going to take a break right now for a commercial break. Welcome you, Ms. Nelson. We'll be right back. You're listening to Inside the MFL.
DC Radio, where you can hear district creatives with Sevi Charisse.
One of the conversations that we have on the show is how to monetize your creative gifts and abilities.
Hearing the Council with Josh Gibson.
You'll learn about policy, learn about people, learn about history, and learn about the institution.
Wit and Reason with Dr. Alexis Moreno.
It seems like there's still a lot of confusion and misunderstanding surrounding the concept of love, so let's break it down.
Rating the Crates with John Avery.
You're raiding the crates on DC Radio, and we're just getting started. So let's kick this party into high gear.
And Memories for Seniors with Elliot Michael Gold.
The people we love and admire and who set the beat and the music of our lives.
DC Radio, 96.3 and DCRadio.gov. In DC, for DC.
Welcome back to Inside the MFL. I'm your host, Richard Myles, along with my co-host, Robert Gatewood from Radio 1.
Hey.
Robert, along with Miss Kelsey Nicole Nelson, Fox Sports Radio. Hey, we're talking about football now, but we're also talking about economic development. When I have Robert here, and not often we get a chance to be alone,
right,
Robert, doing the show, so we could talk about something more than just football. Of course, we're excited about the football because we're going to Africa. Rob, I hope you're ready. I don't know what to drink over there. I'm scared to death of everything. I hope people don't be offended by that because, honestly, I don't know what they eat over there or what I'm doing. But as one of the I talked to one of the rappers over there, Akon, and he's a really tight brother, man. He really trying to do something for his people and people of color. I mean, I'll let you go into that because I know you know what he's doing over there as far as all the property and stuff he bought over there, and he's really spearheaded the move with African Americans to come over and invest and move and live into Africa.
Well, Miles, thanks again. But there's been a red carpet has been rolled out to African Americans living in the United States. That carpet has been rolled out forever, and I'm amazed how few of us take advantage of it. Mm-hmm. The welcome mat is there. So right now, as we lay the groundwork for moving the MFL into the continent of Africa, it brings up a bigger issue of business development. Business development is a process. And I think many people get intimidated when you're talking about starting a franchise, starting a business, going across the sea to Africa. All they see is challenges. But one thing about business ownership, and this is something everybody should be aware of, it's a thing called barriers to entry. Barriers to entry means that by setting the barrier or the threshold high, that means once you get in, it's just that much harder for others to get in. So never see barriers or roadblocks as something to be afraid of, but look at them as opportunities, because once you scale that barrier, you're in the hot seat, you're in the catbird seat, and others will have a more difficult time getting there. And going to Africa and setting up over there is no exception. So just something to think about as you go into, when we're talking about business development, whether it's in the United States or Africa, think about, don't be dismayed or discouraged by difficulty. Don't do that. Look at that as the opportunity, because barriers to entry, the high threshold, that's where the people are that's where the money's being made. If it's easy, if everybody's doing it, believe me, there's not going to be a lot of money in it.
And it's ironic that you say that because we have barriers over here.
That's right.
And we dealing with them every day. We're overcoming every single day, and yet we're afraid of going and do something somewhere else. Isn't that crazy?
No, but it's. I think it's a mindset, and when we talk about business and development, everybody likes to talk about the numbers and the dots, dotting the I's, crossing the T's. But we also have to think about the mindset, the mental part of starting a business. Starting a business is not for everybody. I used to say that everybody can start a business. Now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't get involved. That may mean you need to surround yourself with people who understand what it takes to start a successful business. So if you have the means, the time, and the resources, but you feel like it's not in your DNA to be a business owner or an entrepreneur, that just means use those management skills that you have, those people skills, to go out and surround yourself with the right people, and you can still be a very successful business owner. That's why people buy franchises too, by the way, Myles, because many people that buy franchises, believe it or not, most of them are first-time business owners. They never owned a business. They had other skills. They had money. They had resources. They had connections. But they used that and leveraged that to acquire a franchise, and now they can continue to use those skills that got them to where they are without having to get down into the nitty-gritty of doing some of the mechanical things and logistical things that are included in running a business. So I would say to anybody who's contemplating, sitting on the fence, ruminating, thinking twice, it's okay. There's some challenges. There's some risk, but we have to stop being so risk-averse. The money is being made by the people who are taking the risk, who are taking the chances, who are going out here understanding that it's a process. They're making the commitments, taking those baby steps, making those connections. Success can be yours. You can own a franchise. You can be in Africa, but you have to take those steps. You have to have that right mindset and understand that if you don't have the skills, go out and relate and pull in people that have those skills that are lacking.
And I'm glad you say that, Robert, because a lot of people, they are afraid of anything outside of the box.
Right.
Right now, we have some more new GMs. I'm excited about going to Africa, Sierra Leone, Egypt. I'm excited about that. But more importantly, I'm excited at the fact that, here in the States now, don't forget, we still have 16 franchises here.
That's right.
And we're definitely going upstate New York. We have a new GM up there, and we finally got us a venue up in Ohio.
Ohio.
And these are some of the places that we had some problems, with venues that now we get ready. We getting that resolved right now. So I'm excited about this. I don't understand why we so afraid, just so afraid to take a chance. It's funny that you take a chance when you go to sleep at night.
That's right.
A lot of people don't want to hear that, but that's true. That's taking a chance. When you close your eyes, I don't know why people automatically think you're supposed to wake up. That's not so. That's if the Lord don't touch your shoulder, buddy, then it could be the other way.
That's right.
There's a lot of people don't wake up. So when I hear people say, "Well, I want to do this, but I don't want to risk that," I can't think of anything you can do in life that you're really not taking a chance. Even if it's not something, I'm not saying that you're taking a chance to go out there and rob a bank, you're really taking a chance there. Right. But, why is it we're so, should I say, stubborn when the opportunity is there? And we always complain we don't know about this. We didn't know about this. We didn't know about that. These are the things that trouble me about people, my people in general, because anytime that the other nationality do something, we right there. We right there supporting it. We right there. But when we do something, and I think it's the mindset, like you said, I think the way we was, our mindset is to not trust each other, and that's that Willie Lynch thing is still working today.
That's right.
But maybe you the expertise on it. Why is it we so afraid of trusting each other?
Well, I think that it starts with trusting yourself. And you see, when you look in the mirror and you see yourself, if you don't trust yourself, you're not going to trust people that look like yourself. And so there's a mindset that we have to work on constantly. I remember I came out of college. I went right into corporate America, and I wasn't always enlightened myself, I must say. I had been, like many others, indoctrinated into believing that the surest way to success was to go out and get a job. And I did that for 20 years. I was out there wearing the suits, and I don't want to say slave because I was being paid very well. But one thing that
slave mentality.
I started seeing a pattern, Myles. I would work at a corporation after about 6-7 years. For some reason, I ended up back on the unemployment line. It was never anything that I did. It was somebody up in the tower that was making these decisions. And after this pattern repeated itself for several years. After about 20 years, I'd gone through 3 jobs. I'd gone through a marketing director. I'd been a senior vice president of business development. I was even the president of a company. But I still did not have control of my destiny.
Right.
Only now, since I've been self-employed, that I have been in this job longer than any job that I've ever been in. And when I say job, I use that term pejoratively. I have been a self-employed person because when times get tough, I can work harder. When sales drop, I can make changes on my own.
You ain't got to worry about getting fired.
Nobody's going to fire me. So I've been on this quote-unquote job longer than any other job. And because one of the things that was the impediment was that, well, once I go out here and start a business, it might not succeed. And then I'm going to not be able to support my family. I can't buy my car. I can't put a roof over my head. But I had this false belief that as I was working for these companies, that I would be able to do these things. In each case, I was wrong. Only now, after I've become self-employed and my own boss, have I now felt this sense of security that eluded me the entire 20 years I was in corporate America.
And I'm so glad you said that because we think these jobs, we're safe.
Right.
We're not safe. For some reason or another, we're not, we think that's the mindset we have. And the mindset that, I don't want people to think that I'm so insensitive when I'm tired of hearing people, I'm getting ready to retire in another month. You couldn't live off 2 paychecks. How you going to live off 1? But see, that's the mindset they have, and they're afraid of starting their own business. And you said just a few minutes ago that self-employed, that scared the hell out of a lot of people.
Absolutely.
But it does. Foreign. And I don't know why, because you know why? They don't want to, like as you stated earlier, they don't believe in themselves.
We've been sold a bill of goods. And we can't discount the impact of our parents and our ancestors being enslaved for many years. And so we started out behind the 8 ball, but we have to stop making excuses.
Thank you.
I mean, those are real reasons, but they're not good excuses because other people have actually had challenge. Everybody has some challenge or another. So you have to get around the fact that, yes, it's going to be hard. It's going to be tough. I am one of the first to admit that racism, white supremacy, and all these other ills are real. These are not figments of our imagination. But they should not be used as excuses for inaction. In anything, if anything, it should be these should be reasons to go out and work harder, strive harder to make sure that our children and our children's children don't have to endure some of the same challenges that we had. So these should be reasons to jump out here and take those risks. Of course, calculated risks. That's why you talk to people like me, because I've been doing this most of my life, and I help other people with that. But this is not a plug for me. This is a plug for you. This is a plug to say, pull yourself up, go out here and believe in yourself and your ability to get it done. And I keep going back to Kobe. This young man was only 41 years old. And even though basketball was a tool to get him to a certain level, that was not a crutch for him. His life was just beginning. Kobe had a lot ready.
Going on, absolutely.
He was
more than a lot of people
things.
think.
That's
absolutely.
Right.
And I thought playing football that, I'm going to be this rich guy and everything, but hey, that was a mystique that, that was just false thinking. But, I want to thank Mr. Robert Gatewood, my co-host again, and Kelsey Nicole Nelson. You are listening to Inside the MFL. Robert, tell them where they can reach you at.
You can find me every Friday at 10:30 a.m. on the Marketing Pulpit Radio Show over at Radio 1 in Silver Spring. You can also go to marketingpulpit.com, and we have all the information about the show, myself, and I also have a company, Gatewood Marketing and Web. We're actually a marketing business development company where we help companies all over the world grow their businesses. You can call me 301-839-2836. Or you can find me also on everything Marketing Pulpit on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
And you were listening to Inside the MFL. I'll see you next week.
In DC, for DC. DC Radio, 96.3 HD4 and DCRadio.gov.